everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. So before we get into tasting these, I have to give a very special shout out to my friend, Eugene Hayes. He did me a solid favor and sent me a pour of the Old Forester single barrel bourbon, barrel strength bourbon I should say. So without him, we would not be able to do this review tonight. So thank you again, appreciate it. So let's take a look at the old bottles before we get into sampling them, shall we? Alright, there's the Old Forester single barrel rye. Right, this one comes in at 128.3 proof. Warehouse 6, floor 3. For those that care at all, there you go. And you might ask, what's 128.3 proof? It is, compute, 64.15% alcohol by volume. So just keep that in mind. Let's see if there's any fun facts on the back of this bottle here. Old Forester is one of the few distilleries to still employ heat cycling throughout our warehouses, forcing the whiskey to move in and out of the barrel throughout its aging process. Well, that kind of seems like they're cheating old Father Time, doesn't it? Well, we'll see if there's any young notes on this. So obviously, because of that fun heat age cycling there's no age statement on here, right? Surprise. Alright, let's take a look at the old bourbon bottle. So here's a little bottle that Eugene sent me. So he was kind enough to provide us quite a few facts on this label. So if I can read his handwriting here, we'll discuss them. Warehouse K. Floor 3. Look at that. Same floor. Different warehouse, but same floor. 64.15%. What? Oh my god. 128.3. No shit. The bourbon and the rye are exactly the same proof, down to the old 0.3. That's some good coincidence there. This was picked by Little Family Selection. So if you know where that is, great. I don't. But that's who picked this one. So I know it's not a super fancy bottle, but that's what's in here. So let's get to nosing them, shall we? Alright, I got the rye right here in the old left hand, the right for all you viewers. And I got the bourbon right here. So let's start with the rye. I mean, if you know what Old Forester smells like, you're like, Old Forester. You don't even need, I mean, this is dead giveaway on the nose what this is. It just has that confectionery sugar, sweetness, kind of a hint of banana. But as you dig deeper into this nose, we do get the rye spice. There's some caramel in here. Not any oak though. Let's give it a sip. Whew! Wow. That's delicious. Like any Old Forester product, it drinks, it certainly drinks every one of that 128.3. There's like a rye spice. It's basically like they took Old Forester 1920 and they just made it a rye. That's what we're drinking here. It's delicious, full-bodied, full of flavor. There's just a rye comes in, followed by a super, you know, the Old Forester sweetness, a little bit of banana note on there even. Ryes are not my favorite, and that is delicious. Delicious. So that bottle was $79.99 was the MSRP in PA. I have no idea what was paid for the bourbon, but let's assume it was anywhere from, you know, $79.99 to $100 probably is what most stores sell the bourbons for. Alright, let's give the old bourbon a smelling, shall we? Wow, this, whoo! It's missing the rye spice on the nose, but I get the banana, caramel on this one, oak. Hint of oak in the background, that confectionery sugar note's still there. When you smell this, you say, Old Forester. As I say, it's a very similar nose, except you can smell this one's a rye. Alright, let's give this one a sip. That's delicious. That bourbon is, wow. I get oak, a lot of caramel through there, brown sugar, Just a hint of bananas. Not as much bananas as I got on the nose. I'm a bourbon guy, so I gotta say I'm preferring the bourbon on here. The rye drink's hotter. For being exactly the same proof, the rye drink's hotter. They both have a pretty long finish. I wouldn't say that. And it doesn't really seem like it's the rye spice because it's so sweet, but man, she gives you that Kentucky hug right down through the chest. The bourbon has a nice Kentucky hug as well. It's just a little more traditional Old Forester, like a little bit of graham cracker even coming out on it now. Dang, it's good. So, my vote for the winner tonight is the bourbon. However, I will say if you enjoy ryes, the rye flavor is, you know, a real bonus to you, then you're going to pick the rye actually, because very similar profiles, but the rye just carries that extra rye note into the mix, right? So if you like ryes, 100% you should get the rye. If you're just a bourbon drinker and ryes are just, you know, they're good, but that's about it, the bourbon's for you, right? I will say that. So both excellent, both worth the MSRP, basically of $80. How much would I pay for either one? I think either one's worth $100 easily. I would say anywhere from like $100 to $120 I would pay probably for either bottle. Both in that range. I wouldn't pay more than that though. And right before you thought this was over, we have a special comparison treat. That's right. Old Forester 150th Anniversary Edition. Oh, just pull this out of thin air. This sucker here says, let's read this tube, unfiltered. Whew. We sure hope so. Batch 3 of 3. So for those that care, this is batch 3. Proof 126.8. So a little lighter than the other bourbon, right? So we're going to pour a little bit of this and compare it to the bourbon. Wow. Look at that beautiful amber colored bottle with the gold seal. Beautiful looking bottle. Oh, you probably can't see this here, but this sucker is like got a quarter left. I love this bourbon to be completely honest, and I drink it probably too often for never being able to get it again. So let me pour this into Glencairn and we'll do a quick comparison to the bourbon. Alright, poured it up. Alright, here is the single barrel bourbon and here's the Old Forester 150. I'm just looking at color wise here, and you're not going to be able to see it, I don't think. But the Old Forester here is just a shade darker. Just a shade darker. Alright, let's give the Old Forester 150 a nosing. Wow, I'm getting a lot more banana and like just like a Werther's Original right on the nose. Let's back to the bourbon. I'm getting similar noses on this. Little bit of banana on this. I get the banana now on this too. This just is a touch deeper on the flavoring. Let's give the Old Forester 150 a sip. Heaven help me, that's good. Whew! It's the traditional Old Forester profile, but a ton of caramel and brown sugar just bam slapped on top. It's that good. With a little hint of bananas at the end. This is fantastic stuff. A+, 10 out of 10. If you have the Old Forester 150 Batch 3, you know what I'm talking about. It's damn delicious stuff. Now back to the bourbon. So I'll say the bourbon drinks like 10 proof points higher. It's only 2 proof points higher. And it misses the depth of flavor that the Old Forester 150 has. So, if you're wondering, did they do something special with the Old Forester 150s? They did. This is aged longer. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's darker. Maybe they just turned the lights off and heat cycled it one more time. I'm not really sure. But the Old Forester 150 is really dang good and does beat the bourbon. So, how much would I pay for this? Well, MSRP on the 150th anniversary was conveniently $149.99. $150. Funny how that just worked out, didn't it? What would I pay for that bottle? $200. All day long, if you said, here's an Old Forester 150 batch 3 on the shelf, what would you pay for it? 200 bills I'd snag it for. It's a delicious bourbon. If you love Old Forester, you're going to love it. It's gonna, at the end of the day. Is the single barrel strength a good substitute? Yes. This one was very good. It just seemed a little younger. So, if you can find a really good store pick, it'll come close. And keep in mind, these roughly are like 90 bucks-ish. So, $60 savings, that's a lot, right? $6 savings is like, I can go buy a Knob Creek 9 120 proof, right? Store pick. I can have 2 bottles and enjoy it versus the MSRP for the 150. But the 150 does have those deeper, darker, and richer profile that we just love. So, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw tonight, please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. Have a great evening.